Halito everybody, this is CT over at the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Adopting Adults. This is the first episode, brand new show, very exciting. This is going to be coming from an urban Native American Indian perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in. Hey everybody, so let's talk about this new show, okay? The reason I even decided to do it was because it centers around adoption, and not just adoption with children, but adult adoption. And I come from two cultures, so I am Black American on one side and I am Native American on my other side. And my native side, we are the indigenous peoples of Mississippi. So I just thought, well, I've been to adoption ceremonies before, that have taken place, and this is in a tribal way, which is a lot different than obviously a government sanctioned, sort of adoption of a child. And I was really shocked when I watched this show because this is not exactly what I thought it was going to be. So we start off, we have this couple that live in Ohio, Danny and Christy. And Danny apparently has been cruising social media looking for people looking to be adopted, where he got lucky enough to find Iliana, a very young girl from Germany. Oh, no, I'm sorry, she's from Austria. And she's been living out in the streets from what she was saying, and she's pregnant. So she doesn't have a relationship with her mom, and she never had a relationship with her father. So I guess she was looking for something. I'm kind of unclear if he was looking for someone to adopt first or she was looking for someone to adopt, if they were like on an adoption website. I didn't really get all those details, but either way, they found each other. He started liking her post and then eventually sending her messages and things like that. Now, old Danny boy seems to have a little bit of a history of adopting adult women, okay, as young as they may be, but they're still adults. So he says that he tried to adopt some woman before, and he wound up having feelings for her. And oh my God, his wife, poor Christy, she's just sitting over there looking like, what is this man getting us into? And you can tell she's not having it. She's just like, I don't know, going along for the ride or something. So he says that his fear with Iliana is that she's going to get here and that he's going to become attracted to her. So I'm like, okay, here we go. So this is already looking like some tomfoolery, some nonsense right off the bat, okay? I was thinking this is going to be like maybe some older people, maybe, same gender or something like that, like maybe an older woman maybe wanting to adopt a daughter or something. I didn't think this was going to be like some freaky ass, middle-aged men trying to get young women in their homes. So anyway, I'm going a little too far. So because the wife is not having it, she wants her own space. They don't have any children from what I can understand. He said that they had trouble having their own family. So I'm guessing they don't have any kids, but they have a lot of pets. And that house is a complete mess. They have cats like all over the place. So the wife is just like, listen, I'm settled. I'm a certain age. I am just trying to enjoy my life at this point. Just, chill out, go to the pet store on the weekends. And here comes her husband talking about he wants to bring yet another woman into their home. So she says, all right, well, at least, get a trailer so she can sleep outside. She goes, that's the best $5,600 I've ever spent. I said, what? 56? Listen, you can divorce that man and you can, listen, $5,600 could have went towards a divorce, and maybe more an expensive divorce because maybe you have property and stuff you want to split up. I cannot even understand why this woman is even contemplating this. Be different if he was just like a real gentle soul, and maybe if he was adopting a male or something like that. But his history, he's admitted to cheating on her before. This is just looking like some damn foolishness, okay? So next up we have Kim. And Kim is what I kind of thought this show might be something about. But there are added layers with Kim because Kim is transracially adopted. So she was born in Korea and she was adopted by a family here in the States. And her adopted father passed away, and her adopted mother, who continued to raise her, well, eventually they became estranged. So she's married, and she has a successful business or career, I should say. She's an accountant, and her husband is an attorney. Her husband thinks this kind of idea is a little bit strange, but she befriended a lady named Vicky a few years ago, and that's where the idea of adult adoption started to come in. She said she initially had read about it in a magazine, but that it was something that she decided that she wanted to do. There was a void missing in her life because of her relationship, her estranged relationship with her uh, official or original adopted mom. And they've been estranged for 8 years. She has a child who's 8 going on 9 and a child that's 3. So that means her mom hasn't been in her life the entire time she's had kids. So Vicky's really gung-ho, her and her husband Joe, but Joe kind of seems like he's just like in it for the ride, like he just kind of supports his wife. And I think also another very interesting dynamic is that it's quite multiracial, which is really fascinating. So Kim is Korean. I don't know what Kim's dad was. I don't know if her dad was white or Korean or any, something else. Vicky's white, and Vicky's husband Joe, is he Latino? I'm not sure. He kind of sounds like it and kind of looks like it. I'm not sure. But anyway, he's a man of color. And, and her husband, Kim's husband, I don't know. Is he Latin? Is he Native American? I'm not sure. I mean, there's like all these different cultural things going on, which I think is really interesting. I want to know more about Kim. I want to know, did she ever have any contact with her biological mother? Does she have any like connection still with Korean culture? Like some transracial adoptees will go in and try and learn more about the culture from the country that they originally came from, and a lot of families will try to make that effort on purpose because they don't want their kids to feel left out because they look different than their children. So I'm interested in that. It's just a whole lot to unpack with this family. So anyway, Vicky is she loves Kim's children and she wants to have grandkids. She has 3 her and Joe have 3 children of their own, but they haven't had their own kids yet, or her children haven't had children yet, so they really want grandchildren. Now, the thing that is the little monkey wrench that's about to come into the plan is that after all these years, after 8 years, Kim's mom is coming back into the picture. And this is just as they are, I guess, gearing up for the official adoption. Now, Kim, this is not symbolic. Kim wants this to be legal. She said, or Vicky said that Kim wants them to be Kim's children's legal grandparents. So this is legal stuff here. So yeah, that's going to be interesting once the mom arrives. So we'll see what happens during that birthday party that's coming up. So next we have Derek and Carol, and they are a married couple. They're both on their 3rd marriage at this point. They're from Compton, California. However, they have been living, for I don't know how long in upstate New York. And they are in the Binghamton area, I'm assuming, because that's what the Bianca, their potential adoptee, was mentioning. Yeah, Bianca. So she's a young 20-something-year-old woman, and she's still trying to get her life together. She struggled coming up. She spent her life in foster care until she aged out at 21. Her parents had struggled with addiction, and she just really hasn't had anyone there for her consistently from what she's telling us in her life. So she met Carol through school, I guess, and Carol has had a history of helping college students before. And apparently it was Carol who was the one who wanted to help her, but Derek was the one that was like, we've got to adopt her. And I was like, okay, you know what? Listen, nothing wrong with multiple marriages. Sometimes you don't get it right on the first time. Okay, that's fine. But it does make me wonder, a grown man who's on his third marriage, why is he so gung-ho to adopt this young girl? Like, it's one thing to, if you want to maybe help out a little bit, but him insisting on the adoption, that's why I'm getting like bad vibes from some of these couples, because like this particular case, again, another middle-aged man, what the hell does he, I mean, I don't understand. Carol, okay, but Carol, she just seems like a really bleeding heart type person. Carol seems like somebody who just gives and gives and gives and gives. And I know that it can be controversial when you have an adult who is in a position of power, academically, who is so behind and so supportive of her students to the point where she will actually come out of her pocket and financially help people or give them a place to stay. I know that's controversial. In some rare situations, sometimes that's just what it is, and sometimes that person is just that person in the neighborhood who does help people, and later on is there when that person graduates from college and says, hey, Mrs. So-and-so from so-and-so helped me, I would have never made it here if it weren't for her. There are situations like that, and but it's not a regular thing, and there always has to be a lot of caution taken, because there are boundaries and there can always be allegations, like if or things can be misinterpreted the wrong way, and then now all of a sudden a genuine good deed can be misconstrued. You can lose your career and things like. It's very risky to help someone like that. So someone like Carol, like I really like, your heart goes out to her, because she just seems like she would help anybody in any situation. She just strikes me as that kind of person. So but being married to Derek, I don't know. I mean, at first I just was like, oh, this is just regular couple around retirement age, living their best life or whatever. But Derek has given me some kind of, I don't know. I just, like, when he gets on the phone with, well, first of all, let me go back. So anyway, Bianca wants to become part of the family, and she's looking forward to it. Now, the family of Derek and Carol are both not on board. So Carol is still in contact with her first husband's daughter, her former stepdaughter. And she's not in for it, because what happened? Well, same situation. Carol took somebody in from one of the colleges many years ago, and she started to live with Carol and her husband and their daughter. Or I don't know if the daughter was living there at the time. I shouldn't say that. But next thing you know, the woman starts sleeping with Carol's husband. And, Carol seemed like really heartbroken about that. And the way, I mean, it kind of seemed like somebody who just is so trusting and so, just willing to help, that she just wouldn't think that other people would have bad intentions, because her intentions are so pure. So, the former stepdaughter, or the former stepdaughter doesn't want to see Carol get hurt again. And she probably kept in touch with Carol all these years, even after the divorce of her father to her, probably because Carol's probably such a nice person. So I'm like, oh God, Carol, please don't, listen, I'm not saying Bianca, I can't, but the husband, I don't know about that. I do not know about that situation. And then when he gets on the phone with his brother, and the brother starts talking to him about how their mother feels about him and his wife adopting Bianca, he's like, mom's not having it, and da 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 da. And Derek's response is like, well, she's got to respect me. She better respect me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to be forced to choose between her and my household. And the way he was, listen, okay, the way he was so adamant about that, to like, get like, to talk so spicy about your mom like that for a young woman who only recently has been in your life, there are just some red flags going off with him. I'm just not sure. And he looks like he still takes care of himself. He's got a nice little haircut and everything. He looks well groomed. And I mean, he kind of looks like when he's out there in those streets that maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's for the streets, y'all. I really don't know. But for a man of his age, because he's like in his early 60s, I guess, to be like so like down on your mom because your mom has a strong opinion about this situation. This is not a conventional thing. The brother didn't say mom said she's going to cut you off and never talk to you again. He didn't say that. He said mom has concerns. And he was like, well, I don't like the way her attitude is towards Bianca, da da da. Like, I hope you fight for your wife like that. I mean, he probably doesn't have to because she's so nice, but there is something something in Denmark, honey. Something in Denmark is not smelling good. So now we have Vicky and Jose again, and it's time for Vicky to meet up with her sister. And she wants to sit down with her sister and her brother-in-law and kind of let them know what's going on. The sister knows that Vicky has formed this relationship with Kim and her kids and husband, but she doesn't know about the adoption part of it. So she's explaining that process to them, and the sister's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, is that even legal? Can that even be done? Do you need to be doing all of that? Are they just looking for babysitters? Like, are they trying to get money out of you? Like, she's basically like just smelling a scam. That's what she's smelling. But I think that, and of course, Vicky is like, no, that's not the case and everything. And I feel like Kim's situation is so unique. I don't see anything scamish about it. I mean, it just sounds like she had a really rocky childhood and never really even had a great parental relationship even in her adulthood, and it can be really scarring. I wasn't raised by my mom. I know what that's like. It is very, very scarring sometimes when you are not raised by your biological parents for whatever reason it may be, even if that your parents died and you just didn't get the chance to grow up, whatever the reason, it can be so like very taxing. So I think that I really think that Kim is genuine in her want to have another parent, like it's like another shot at having a parent. And but the one thing is that I'm not sure if this is more for her or for her kids. I'm assuming it's more for her, but she's pretty adamant, it seems like, that she wants the children to have like an actual legal grandparent as well. So maybe it's just like kind of both. But yeah, it's just when I think about like adoption ceremonies and things like that. I attended a tribal adoption ceremony before, and I remember thinking, a lot of feelings that kind of go through you when you think of being accepted and being taken in, and being asked to be a part of a group, a family, a community, a tribe. It's very, very strong. So I do. As strange as I guess this whole concept is to a lot of people, like I said, because of my cultural background and having seen people become part of that, and sometimes when you're adopted into Native culture, you're also given a name, and you keep that name until you die, and it's not a name you can just make up and have yourself. That's given, and it's very is very strong, and it's an acknowledgement, and it adds another layer of richness to your family and to your identity, to your legacy, everything. It's so powerful. So my heart kind of goes out to her. But yeah, I just don't think that her intentions are bad. I just think she just, didn't have a good time growing up and wants to have something like that. I mean, she's, I don't remember how she was. She in her late 30s or early 40s, something like that. She still has plenty of time left on the earth. Why not do it while having a parent there? So yeah, so Vicky was just explaining all of that stuff, but she told her, hey, listen, they have their own money, so if anything, they're financially helping us out. So yeah, so hopefully that makes the sister feel a little bit better. But the way I see it, listen, two families have come together and decided they want to blend their family. I really don't see anything wrong with it. I just don't. Not yet, anyway. So now we have Kim, and she's sitting down with, guess who? None other than her original adoptive mom. It's been 8 years. They're trying to catch up, and Kim is explaining about the void or the parental void she's had in her life because, she hasn't been there for her. So, I mean, I wonder what happened between them to kind of have such a breakdown in the relationship. Was Kim a really hard kid to raise? Or, did the mom just kind of like check out after the husband left? Maybe it was the husband's idea initially to adopt. I have no idea. Let's find that out next week. But yeah, she's just letting her know, like, hey, listen, I know you're going through this little adoptive process. She doesn't know about the official adoptive process, but she knows that Kim has, kind of taken these people on as parent-like figures for her. But what she doesn't like is the whole, the competition, the grandma competition. She doesn't want to have somebody kind of be in her way. She's like, okay, well, they can play grandma, grandpa when I'm not around, but I'm the grandmother. And Kim is like, reassuring her, well, you'll always be their grandmother. And I'm wondering, like, well, will you? I mean, there's no blood and there's no connection. And when I say no connection, meaning with the grandchildren, okay, because the oldest grandchild is 8 going on 9. They haven't spoken in 8 years. So does that mean that the oldest child has never seen the grandmother? If that's the case, then I mean, what's the connection? If you're not close to your mom, your kids don't even know your mom, and then you're choosing another set of parents to become grandparents to your children, is she still really always going to be the mom? Just a question. I don't know. I don't know what happened between them. I need a lot more background on what exactly happened between them. I want to know so much more about Kim. Kim, please, if you do any of your social media pages or whatever, please give us some background. We want to know about your story. I am just dead curious. But we'll see next week if it's going to be like a showdown between the grandmas at the birthday party. They're going to be throwing like, party favors at each other or something. I don't know. Listen, when these shows start off, initially they start off nice and calm, and it's kind of nice the first few seasons, and then once you kick it up to like season 4 and stuff like that you start getting that Jerry Springer, love and hip hop element. So right now I'm just kind of enjoying like the normal dysfunction. So we'll see next week what happens with them at that birthday party, though. So now we wake up to Christy and Danny, who are preparing breakfast for Ileana, who's knocking on the door. She came out from her new little trailer, which 5,600, okay, that's got to be a used trailer. Now I am hoping that camper was clean from top to bottom, because with all those cats and all that stuff in that house, it looks a little junky. I'm just being honest. And she's pregnant, so it needs to be a very, very clean environment. And because Christy was not like really into it, I don't think Christy was in there like scrubbing that thing from top to bottom. But then again, maybe Danny was, because he was just grinning. He was just so happy and talking about, oh, he just can't wait to hug her. He can't wait to hug her. This literally makes my skin crawl, okay? This man, to me, this just looks like something just so inappropriate, like on the horizon. So no sooner than she can finish her coffee, here goes Danny saying to Christy, well, do you feel comfortable talking about our marital issues right now? And in that moment, Christy was done. She was like, no, I can't. She walked away. She just couldn't do it. And then that was the very moment that Ileana was like, oh my God, I didn't even have 24 hours, and now I see they have some problems. And she's, of course, she's not stupid. She can put two and two together. She can sense that Christy doesn't want her there. And that's not a good feeling. Why would you even bring a girl there in that situation? You know, she's pregnant, you know, she's very vulnerable. And I mean, I don't know about Austria. Like, what is their social services programs? Do they have things like that for young people? I mean, Austria is not, it's not a poor country, right? So I mean, they don't have anything to help out young women and stuff like that. They have all kinds of great programs in like Denmark and Sweden and Norway. Oh my God, if there was ever any country I was ever gonna live in outside the United States, I would go straight to Scandinavia. I'm digressing, but I really like their sweaters, especially Norwegian sweaters. I love Norwegian sweaters. In fact, this is one of my Norwegian sweaters that I made this week. I love to do Norwegian style knitting. I'm getting so completely off of the topic here. Oh my God, people. So anyway, listen, I am very afraid for next week. I already saw the clips for the upcoming episodes, and where you see Ileana, she has a little baby stroller, so she definitely gave birth. We can see that. But I hope they don't have this girl under like a bunch of stress and stuff like that. She doesn't need that. She already has a very stressful situation. Just the fact that she's unstable, and this all kind of lies on, you know, how the wife is going to feel, and even if Christy is completely on board, can Danny keep his hands to himself? Can he be on his best behavior, or can he not fall in love with it? Whatever. This is just too much. So, all right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so happy to start a brand new show with you guys. It's kind of exciting. So let's talk about more stuff. You guys can let me know in the comment section below. Are there any things that you want to see, any things you want to talk about? I also plan on doing some crafting later on. I do traditional Native American beadwork, so, and I also do, well, Norwegian knitting, of course. So you know, maybe we can do like a little craft episode or something like that. You guys just let me know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear. I'd love to hear from you guys. So anyway, please stay safe, take care, and chipisalacho. Hey, and if you like it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hey, and maybe even share the video if you have a friend that you might actually think would like this kind of material. So anyway, I will call you next week. See you then. Chipisalacho.